A violent gang, police say, off the streets and in jail. 5 going before a judge Wednesday facing a 33-count indictment. The investigation began back in January after 17-year-old Terrence Farrington was shot and killed at a Plantation Best Buy. Trayvon Key and Kavaris Johnson charged with the shooting death of rapper WizDaWizard, or Wisdom Johnson, back in September of 2021. Johnson is also accused in the shooting death of Antoine Dobard. He was shot at a laundromat in Pembroke Park April 9th. Johnson is also accused of Vernaldo Donner and Terry McKenzie. Ferris Johnson and Raja Rowe facing yet another murder charge, this one a week after Terrence Harrington was this time.
A years-long investigation by the Broward Sheriff's Office and others, resulting in 24 arrests Tuesday. Investigators say the Alwoods Gang operated primarily out of the Deerfield Beach area.
Our community was crying out to us.
They've all been arrested for first-degree murder. We will be reviewing them to see if we will seek the death penalty. This has been a long-running investigation that started in 2015.
Florida, especially Broward County, has become a central battleground in the fight against violent street gangs, with law enforcement launching aggressive, multi-year crackdowns on organized crime. From local crews like the Dania Hot Boys and Alwoods, to national networks such as MS-13 and sex money murder prosecutors are using sweeping RICO indictments, joint task forces, and advanced forensic tools to dismantle entire criminal organizations. These investigations expose a common pattern: gangs blending drugs, guns, fraud, and targeted violence in a bid for control, profit, and reputation. What follows is a breakdown of the state's most high-profile gang takedowns in recent years, and how agencies are working across jurisdictions to bring Florida's most dangerous offenders to justice.
A violent gang, police say, off the streets and in jail. 5 going before a judge Wednesday facing a 33-count indictment, which closes 8 murder cases and 12 attempted murder cases in Broward County. The investigation began back in January after 17-year-old Terrence Farrington was shot at a Plantation Best Buy.
They was buying ring cameras. Terrence came out, Terrence fell and died right there.
And all 4 people were shot, including 2 customers. The star football player was. Police now say Sigmund Brown, Kavaris Johnson, and Gerard Charles are responsible for the teen's death.
Terrence was a student full of life and love.
Print lifted at the scene led BSO's gang task force to one of the gang members, and that blew open this investigation. 10 months later, 8 now arrested, guns confiscated, along with Trayvon Key and Kavaris Johnson charged with the shooting death of rapper WizDaWizard, or Wisdom Johnson, back in September of 2021. Johnson is also accused in the shooting death of Antoine Dobard. He was shot at a laundromat in Pembroke Park April 9th, 2023.
I see these 4 guys with black hoodies, and I looked and they started just unloading. They just started firing.
Johnson is also accused of Vernaldo Donner and Terry McKenzie, both shot at while driving on I-95 in Fort Lauderdale, May of last year. Ferris Johnson and Raja Rowe facing yet another charge, this one a week after Terrence Harrington was killed, this time.
I've been shot. Call my boyfriend.
Johnny Henderson shot and while driving in Miramar. All 8 facing serious charges that could land them in jail for life and/or the death penalty.
In November 2024, Broward County authorities announced a major RICO indictment targeting the Dania Hot Boys gang, also known as Grand Mafia. A joint task force, including the BSO Gang Investigations Unit and the State Attorney's Office, charged 8 alleged members ages 16 to 30 in a sweeping 33-count indictment. The charges span a wide range of violent crimes committed between 2020 and 2024, including multiple first-degree deletions, attempted deletions, armed robberies, and weapons offenses. Investigators allege that the gang's leadership, including suspects Sigmund Brown and Gerard Charles, coordinated these acts of violence to expand the gang's influence and maintain internal loyalty. The Hot Boyz reportedly operated through several affiliated cliques, such as Junior Mafia, Go-Getters, and Family Forever, and funded their criminal activities through firearms trafficking, financial fraud, and coordinated attacks.
According to Plantation Police, the shooting occurred just after 8 p.m. on Saturday outside of the Best Buy located at 12301 West Sunrise Boulevard. 4 people had just exited the store when they were approached by a group of individuals in the parking lot. That group began shooting, striking 2 of the people who had just left the store. According to Mr. King, Terrence was one of them, and he died from his injuries. Police say they were targeted. 2 bystanders were also shot. The 3 survivors were all stable when taken to the hospital.
The indictment names multiple victims, including 17-year-old Terrence TJ Farrington Jr., who was fatally shot outside a Best Buy in Plantation in January 2024.
Yeah, police cleared this scene about an hour and a half ago at this point. This is the home where that man was found, but there are still a lot of questions left to be answered here. Namely, why did this happen and where was this man? Make their way into a crime scene after a man was found dead on a sidewalk Friday.
Investigation.
According to Hallandale Beach Police, a neighbor found the body around 6 a.m. in front of this home on Northwest 6th Terrace and 9th Court. It's unclear at this point if the man was actually killed there or if his body was dumped, but police say he did grow up in the area. Although law enforcement hasn't confirmed who he is, the victim has been identified on social media as rapper WizDaWizard. And as people gathered at the scene, some pushed their way under the crime scene.
Developing stories involving rappers. Police in Hallandale Beach say a man was found dead in front of a home this morning. He's believed to be rapper WizDaWizard. Florida Highway Patrol says an alleged road rage shooting on I-95 also this morning led to another man getting at least 22 bullet holes to the driver's side of his car. That man is said to be rapper Spot'em Got 'Em.
That body was found early this morning in front of this vacant home. You can see those markers still remain on the floor, but this no longer an active scene. Police still remain investigating.
A prior resident to the city of Hallandale Beach.
While Hallandale Beach police have not confirmed the identity of the person found, multiple posts on social media claim the victim was rapper WizDaWizard. And early this morning, another rapper was shot. According to TMZ, Spot'em Got 'Em is recovering in Adventure Hospital after being shot multiple times in a Miami road rage incident. FHP tells us the rapper was riding in a car and shot at least 22 times on the driver's side. The driver was shot on his hip, and Spot'em Got 'Em suffered gunshot wounds to both legs.
And 23-year-old rapper WizDaWizard Williams, found stabbed to death in Hallandale Beach in September 2021.
A Broward County laundromat covered in bullet holes after an early morning shooting sent one man to the hospital. The shooter or shooters involved later running away. The crime scene unfolding just before 3 this morning outside of the Swift Coin laundromat on Hallandale Beach Boulevard and 48th Avenue in Pembroke Park. After getting a call about a shooting there, police responded and found one man who had been shot, paramedics rushing him to a nearby hospital for treatment.
They were right next to my truck. They were next to my door. They were sitting by my truck. I could look them all in the face. They were that close.
This witness, who did not want to show his face, says he was parked at the laundromat when he noticed a group of men wearing all black walk up to the victim, who arrived on a bicycle.
And I just looked up, and I seen about four, 5 fellas. They came running up, all in black. It was some Uzis or MAC-10s or something like that. And they shot about 100 times.
This witness says it was obvious the shooters were clearly targeting him.
It don't take that many people to try to kill one person and shoot that many times. And they're just trying to make a statement.
Other victims include Antoine Daubert, deleted in Pembroke Park in April 2023.
This Coral Springs woman says she spoke to her youngest cousin, 21-year-old Terry McKenzie, just moments before she was. Police seen in this surveillance video speeding to the scene on the Sunrise Boulevard ramp to 95 northbound just before 2:30 Tuesday morning. Officers finding this white Mercedes SUV covered and bullet holes. Inside was Mackenzie and 23-year-old Vernaldo Donner.
Vernaldo Donner and Terry McKenzie, who were fatally shot while driving on I-95 in Fort Lauderdale in May 2023, despite not being the intended targets. Wayne Smith, who died from gunshot injuries sustained in Hallandale Beach in July 2023.
Things in this Fort Lauderdale neighborhood really quiet now, but last night this was a very busy scene, and I've spoken with family members of this victim. They tell me they are absolutely heartbroken today. Let's take you back to that scene last night, right around 6 p.m. Fort Lauderdale police say they responded to the home on Northwest 30th Way and 21st Street, where we're standing right now. They found a woman shot in the front seat of a van right in the driveway here. The woman was pronounced dead on the scene, and the detectives began their investigation, working the area for any evidence of what may have happened here or why this woman was targeted. Now, we have been able to confirm through family and neighbors, this woman was named Dorothy Smart. She went by Dee Dee. Neighbors say she was a lovely person, an absolutely great person to be around. We have also confirmed she is the mother of South Florida rapper Psycho Bob. We're trying to get more information about exactly what happened here. We have been able to confirm no arrests have been made.
Dorothy Smart met her demise in the driveway of her Fort Lauderdale home in September 2023.
Cars heard speeding off, people pumping gas, seen ducking for cover as they heard the gunfire. 17-year-old Johnny Henderson was sitting in his car behind the wheel at a traffic light when he was shot to death. Happened just before 8 Sunday night. Henderson was in his car with his girlfriend, going south on University Drive just north of the turnpike. Both were hit by bullets, but the teen girl survived. Miramar police say they were shot at from multiple directions. The shooter or shooters drove off. Loved ones say Henderson was a junior at American Senior High School. A teammate and friend tells us he was just great.
Great person, great football player, athlete.
And 17-year-old Johnny Henderson, fatally shot while on a date in Miramar in January 2024. All 8 defendants have pleaded not guilty. If convicted, some may face life sentences or even the death penalty. The case marks one of Broward's most sweeping gang crackdowns in recent years.
Christy, Alexis, so far, 9 MS-13 gang members who lived here illegally have been indicted or convicted on 4 different homicide cases that happened more than 10 years ago. U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi saying even though these cases happened 10 years ago, local and federal agents have been working around the clock to find these men.
They've all been arrested for first-degree. We will be reviewing them to see if we will seek the death penalty. This has been a long-running investigation that started in 2015.
Investigations leading detectives to excavate a piece of land in Oakland Park that led to the recovery of one of the victims back in 2021. Another involved 8 of these 9 men. U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi saying he was brutally stabbed and shot to death, all part of their gang initiation.
It was over 100 times, right, Sheriff? All over his body. I mean, his neck, his chest, his entire body, almost like a game. Didn't they call it a piñata?
A decade later, thanks to new technology and very hard work from law enforcement members, these 9 gang members you see here are behind bars.
In April 2025, federal and local authorities announced Operation Sombra de la Bestia, Shadow of the Beast, a major joint operation targeting MS-13 members connected to a string of cold case deletion in South Florida. Attorney Pam Bondi and Broward Sheriff Gregory Toney held a press conference confirming 9 arrests tied to 4 brutal homicides that occurred between 2014 and 2015. The victims were executed, either stabbed or shot in Oakland Park, as part of MS-13's violent rituals of initiation or retribution. One key case involved the 2014 deletion of Joel Canizales Lara, who was found stabbed to death after falsely claiming MS-13 ties. Detectives said the gang lured him to his death to make an example. After years of stalled leads, a renewed investigation using modern forensic tools and new informants revealed a consistent pattern linking the murders to the gang's South Florida network. 6 individuals had previously been convicted in related cases. In 2025, 3 more suspects were indicted under a federal racketeering case. All 9 are charged with first-degree deletion and face possible death sentences under federal law. Sheriff Tony emphasized the message behind the operation. Justice does not have an expiration date. The task force, comprising BSO cold case homicide, the FBI, and other agencies, pledged continued pursuit of long unsolved gang.
A years-long investigation by the Broward Sheriff's Office and others, resulting in 24 arrests Tuesday. Investigators say the Alwoods Gang operated primarily out of the Deerfield Beach area.
Our community was crying out to us, so we began an investigation into this identified street-level gang that was terrorizing the neighborhood.
Investigators say they seized 40 kilos of cocaine, 20 kilos of heroin and fentanyl, dangerous weapons, and over $800,000 in cash. Broward County Sheriff Gregory Toney says there's been an uptick of gang-related street-level crime as a result.
Sergeant Stephen Hendricks with the Broward County Sheriff's Office Gang Investigations Unit. So today we concluded a multi-year investigation into the Alwoods Gang. This particular gang had been involved in the distribution of large quantities of very dangerous narcotics.
The Alwoods Gang, described by law enforcement as a violent and prolific drug network, operated for decades across northern Broward County and into southern Palm Beach. In 2022, a 5-year investigation known as Operation Playing for Keeps led to the arrest of dozens of alleged members and the dismantling of the gang's leadership. The probe began in 2017, following a sharp increase in fentanyl overdoses and shootings in Pompano Beach and Deerfield Beach. Authorities served multiple search warrants and ultimately indicted nearly 24 individuals on state RICO charges, including drug trafficking, racketeering, and conspiracy to commit deletions. Luxury vehicles and jewelry seized pushed the total value of recovered assets to more than $1 million. Florida Attorney General Ashley Moody reported that members of the Alwoods Gang had been linked to hundreds of criminal cases, including drive-by shootings, robberies, and a fatal fentanyl overdose. In total, law enforcement arrested over 70 individuals associated with the gang and filed more than 100 related charges, delivering a major blow to the group's drug distribution network. The indicted suspects are currently awaiting trial. In April 2025, the Broward Sheriff's Office announced the results of a sweeping, multi-agency investigation into the violent street gang known as Sex Money Murder. The 3-year probe, led by the Gang Investigations Task Force, focused on senior-level sex money murder operatives believed to be coordinating gang activity across Florida. Detectives launched the effort after learning that 2 high-ranking sex money murder leaders were hiding out in Broward County. Between March and April 2025, authorities executed a major warrant roundup that resulted in the arrest of 10 individuals on racketeering and related charges. 4 of those arrested were residents of Broward County, hailing from Pembroke Pines, Lauderhill, and Dania Beach. According to investigators, the gang was engaged in a range of serious crimes, including trafficking firearms and drugs, running financial fraud operations, orchestrating gang activity, and conspiring to commit. In one chilling discovery, authorities uncovered a deletion list naming intended targets. Law enforcement intervened before any of the plans could take place, potentially saving lives. All 10 suspects are now facing federal RICO indictments, although no convictions or plea agreements have been announced to date. This crackdown marks a major statewide effort, with working in coordination with other sheriff's offices and federal partners to take down sex money murder leadership and dismantle their criminal network.
Here's a look at the stash police took from 3 guys accused of several burglaries. Police in Hollywood confiscated guns, ammo, electronics, designer purses, a car, and more than $150,000 in cash. items were stolen during 29 burglaries in several South Florida areas. Police arrested 3 young men already on house arrest for other crimes. They're now facing a long list of additional charges.
In August 2020, a coordinated law enforcement operation involving Hollywood police, the Florida Attorney General's office, the Broward Sheriff's Office, and Margate Police resulted in the takedown of a violent burglary crew tied to nearly 30 armed home invasions across South Florida. The suspects, Zion Hall, Tyrick Williams, and Tremaine Hill, all between 18 and 21 years old, were shockingly found to be carrying out these crimes while under house arrest and wearing GPS ankle monitors. During the execution of simultaneous search warrants, authorities recovered an arsenal of weapons, including an AK-47, as well as approximately $150,000 in cash, stolen electronics, jewelry, and a vehicle. According to investigators, the trio admitted to planning the break-ins as a way to fund drug deals. All 3 now face multiple charges under Florida's RICO statutes, including burglary, grand theft, and illegal possession of firearms. As of the latest updates, they are being held without bond, and the investigation remains ongoing, with law enforcement not ruling out additional arrests. Broward County officials emphasize that recent high-profile gang busts are part of a deliberate, long-term strategy to dismantle violent criminal networks. Sheriff Gregory Toney has repeatedly described drug and street gangs as a scourge on the community that inflict lasting harm on neighborhoods. Alongside Florida Attorney General Ashley Moody, he has promoted the use of joint task forces and RICO indictments to take down entire organizations, not just isolated offenders. Moody pointed to operations like the Alwoods investigation, which connected suspects to hundreds of cases involving drug trafficking and violence, as proof that coordinated crackdowns deliver real accountability. This multi-agency approach relies on collaboration between BSO, the FBI, DA, ATF, and local police departments. By sharing intelligence and forensic resources, authorities have solved cold cases, including MS-13 homicides, and prevented future attacks, such as when detectives uncovered a gang deletion list and alerted potential victims. In the case of the Hollywood burglary crew, investigators tied the suspects to crimes across multiple counties using GPS data, stolen property logs, and digital footprints. Law enforcement also emphasizes prevention alongside prosecution. Community-driven operations like Playing for Keeps and Trigger Lock emerged in response to resident concerns over rising fentanyl deaths and shootings. BSO routinely holds town halls, promotes anonymous tip lines like Crime Stoppers, and increases patrols in high-risk areas. Targeting repeat offenders and acting quickly on credible leads are key elements of their deterrence strategy. Officials repeatedly stress that justice will be pursued no matter how much time has passed. Here in Broward County, justice does not have an expiration date, said Sheriff Toney. If you come here and take a life, we will unleash every resource to bring you to justice. These coordinated efforts have had a visible impact. As communities reel from carjackings, fentanyl overdoses, and gang-related homicides, many residents demand tough enforcement. Law enforcement's public messaging reinforces that those responsible will be held accountable. Analysts note a clear pattern. Modern gangs blend drug trafficking, fraud, and violent enforcement, creating interconnected webs of crime. In response, authorities are using comprehensive tactics, from RICO charges to cross-agency raids, to break that cycle.